Today we're talking about travel. We're talking about Avalon, New Jersey. We're talking about the Jersey Shore, but not what you would think the Jersey Shore looks like. And we're talking about it in the off season, what there is to do, what does it look like, how busy things are like, things like that. So I just visited there, and I kind of want to talk about the advantages of going in the off season, what's open, what does it look like, and things like that. Okay, so Avalon, New Jersey. If you don't know anything about Avalon, New Jersey, you're thinking of going there and you're kind of wondering what is in the off season. I'll give you some insight. So Avalon, New Jersey and Stone Harbor are kind of together. They're in an island. It's part of the Jersey Shore. Avalon, New Jersey and Stone Harbor is really, really expensive. Just to give you a little caveat into how expensive it is, because I was interested, looked on Zillow while I was there because I wanted to see how expensive some of the houses were that we were walking by that were unbelievably gorgeous. Everything was manicured. All the landscaping was manicured. These houses were unreal. So you had anything from $12 million down to, I think the cheapest I saw was about $750,000. $750,000 in Avalon/Stone Harbor, New Jersey gets you about 550 square feet. 550 square feet for $750,000. So insanity. It's got to be one of the most expensive places in the U.S. But the area, gorgeous, groomed, beautiful. First time I've ever been there. I've heard great things about it, and it lived up to it. But holy smokes, it's hella expensive. So we went in mid-September. We just got back a couple days ago. We just went for a weekend just to check it out. So mid-September, normally beach season for us on the East Coast is, Memorial weekend to Labor Day weekend. That's kind of how it's split. So prices in between those brackets usually are quite pricey. So right after Labor Day, it's kind of hit or miss whether the weather's going to be nice or not. We had perfect weather. It was beautiful, mid-70s during the day. You still get a little bit toasted and burn on the beach, and in the afternoons it was like low 60s. So it was incredible, and the beaches were actually pretty busy, based on I think the weather being really nice, and there was a shitload of weddings going on where we're staying, which we'll get into that. So we did take our Rad Power e-bikes as well with us, and I took my Rivian, so we were a full electric weekend, so it was pretty interesting. So let me give you a couple reasons to visit in the mid-September, or the off season, we'll say. So it's certainly way cheaper to stay there. So we stayed at the Icona, which we'll get into details, but I think we paid about $150 a night. During peak season, it's around $700 a night. So drastic difference, $700 a night. If you think about that, for a week experience, you're six and change grand for that. You can fly to Mexico, Cancun, get all-inclusive drinks and food and service for what you can get just to stay, in the Avalon area. So a little perspective there. It's certainly less crowded, not only for the beach, but hotels and also for restaurants. Everything was obviously not as busy as it would be during the season. So if the weather's perfect and you kind of nail it, there's no hurricanes or anything like that, it's a really good time to visit. The town was super quiet, like crazy quiet. We were actually walking back from the ice cream place to our hotel the one night, just walking on the side of the road down the main strip. And I took a video clip and I'll pop it in. It's about, I don't know, a couple seconds of just complete silence, no traffic, no people, silent at the beach in a beach town, which is pretty weird. Not used to that at all. Parking is obviously way easier. Didn't have any problems with parking, and I'll talk a little bit more about how parking worked at the Icona Windrift. You don't need beach passes past Labor Day. So when I got there and checked in, they actually marked off on the sheet that you don't need to have beach passes. Jersey Shore during the summer, you do have to buy beach passes. Most of the places you stay, if you rent a house or are at a hotel, they'll provide you the beach passes. I'm sure it's part of your price, but once that's over, you don't need beach passes. And I saw people walking dogs on the beach as well, so apparently that's allowed as well. And most things are still open. So if you go in early-ish September, I don't know how late everything stays open. Most of the shops were still open, restaurants were open, things like that. So, and you get to enjoy them without all the crowd. So that was pretty enjoyable. So let's talk about the Icona Windrift, which is where we stayed. Really cool. Let's talk about parking. They do, if you have an electric car, they do have 2 ports for their EV charging, and they kind of have 3 parking spots, or 2 parking spots, and then a handicap parking spot. So there's 2 EV parking spots, we'll say. I actually went around the hotel 4 times looking for like the perfect spot to park, because there was plenty, but I'm weird about where I park with my truck and things like that. And then I saw these green lines and I was like, oh, that usually means EV. So I pulled up. They do have an EV parking and EV charging. They had like a little credit card slot. I tried to put my credit card in, like nothing was working, nothing was lit up. So I went in actually inside to the front desk. I asked them, hey, does your charger work, or how does it work? I'm confused. It won't take my credit card. And she was like, oh yeah, you plugged in? I was like, no, but it can be. She's like, well, let me flip the breaker. So apparently they had the breaker off. I'm assuming they don't have it on all the time, only if people ask maybe. So if you go to the Icona Windrift and you are staying there, they will accommodate you. I got free charging essentially from the hotel. So that was pretty amazing. You didn't have to pay for it. So I was able to park my truck there all night and charge up full thing for the next day, which was pretty amazing. So also that charging station did not show up on my Rivian map for charging stations, and it didn't show up on my Google map for charging stations. There is charging stations on the island, either in Stone Harbor or Avalon. They were a little bit away from the hotel, so I thought I was gonna have to park my truck there for a while and then just ride my e-bike back to the hotel, but they actually had charging. It does not exist on the map, so realize it is there. You have to find it. It's close to the beach access, but it's not on the map, so heads up. Parking spots were available this time of year. There was multiple spots available, which is no problem. Room prices were $150, which is obviously a lot cheaper than during in season. Oh, the other thing about the charger, it's a 6 kilowatt, so it's like not the fastest one, just a heads up. I reserved our rooms the end of June. That's when I reserved them to get about the $150 a night. They do have wristbands, so they have wristbands as room keys, and that is also your pool access. So instead of carrying around like a plastic card, they just have like these little elastic wristbands that have like the little, detectors in them to unlock your car or unlock your room and also get into the pool. So it's a little bit easier, especially if you're active. You don't lose keys. You don't have to carry them around all the time, which was nice. Disappointment. The elevator, there's only one, and it's really small and pretty slow, pretty inefficient. So like if you had a luggage cart, that's the only thing plus a person you could fit inside the elevator. So it was pretty tight. It looks like they bought a older motel that they upgraded. It was beautiful inside. The rooms were beautiful, which we'll see those. But the elevator was super disappointing and really slow. And there was like 4 weddings going on when we were there. So it was actually pretty packed from a hotel perspective. It wasn't annoyingly packed, but realized that the elevators, you could wait a little bit. There are stairs kind of at each end of the hotel, but the one that's towards the beach, if you're on like the third floor, it takes you down to like the pool and restaurant area. So it doesn't take you all the way to the bottom. You have to come back. It's a little bit confusing to realize the steps are kind of a pain in the ass and the elevator can be annoying. So just a heads up. Let's talk about the room. So the rooms were really nice. They were gorgeous. The bed was really comfortable. I think I didn't sleep well pretty much leading up to that little vacation, and I think I slept like 11 hours the first night. So I was obviously exhausted, and I didn't wake up through the night. My back didn't hurt in the morning. They were semi-firm. I thought the mattresses were really good. So, and yeah, pillows. There was 4. They were pretty decent size. They held their shape reasonably well. They weren't complete crap pillows. So bed and pillow situation was, probably 7, 8 out of 10, which was good. The view for us was, we were kind of, you could see the beach and the water kind of out over the corner, but we were kind of looking at the other resort next to us, plus the parking lot, and you can kind of see the pool. They didn't have any dividers between any of the balconies, so you could see straight down on either side, and that was on both sides of the hotel. We're both kind of facing parking lots or other resorts. There was a couple rooms at the very end that would have been facing the ocean, but oh man, if there was a handful, I'd be surprised. I think there's maybe like 10 or 15 rooms that actually face ocean front. So not a lot. It's not an ocean facing hotel. It's kind of just a long strip. There's no water or snacks provided in the room. This is a big irritation for me. Especially at the beach, because you're drinking lots of water. So I complained about this in the Rimrock Resort as well, which is another place I just got back from a work trip. And I think the minimal thing you could provide would be water, but they didn't do that, and there was no snacks as well. So just stop at a Wawa or something on the way, and they had a really decent sized mini fridge, so you can stack it up pretty full. And the little mini kitchenette inside the rooms will allow you to be able to, take care of things in the food function area. They had a little sink. They obviously had the fridge, and they had a decent sized trash can underneath the sink as well. So the plates and bowls and things like that. So a little kitchenette and the amenities that come with that was actually a nice touch. Like I said to my wife, like we're only there for two nights, and I was like, I definitely could stay here like for a week because it was big enough, especially for the two of us. The room was quite large, and it was nicely laid out. So bathroom was tight, but it was nice. So toilet like right next to the shower. That whole bathroom situation was pretty tight, but they had like a mirror getting ready area outside the bathroom, and then they actually had the bathroom so you could separate the two so that like you weren't all crammed in the same space. So if someone's actually showering or using the restroom, the other person's not really affected if they're getting ready or need the mirror or whatever that looks like. There was no sink in that space. Just realized it's kind of like a countertop plus a mirror. Balcony was dated. You could tell for sure it was kind of still the old railings. And like I said, there was no divider, so there's not a lot of privacy on the balcony. It's just straight shots, and you can kind of see everything and everybody's going on. The TV did have a guide menu, so I'm pretty sure it was Comcast because it looked very similar to ours, and we have Comcast. So you can actually click the menu and see the shows instead of just clicking through channels and guessing what's on. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate having guides. I wish they did not have a screencast or like a casting from your phone to the TV. I checked that out. I like having that technology at some of the places I've stayed before because everybody's into streaming shows, and if they don't have the streaming service, it's very easy just to pull it up your phone and cast it to the TV. They didn't have that option, but they did have a full menu preview, HD. It was real HD, so it was pretty decent for the TV setup. So that's kind of the Icona. Like I said, we're only there for 2 nights and just over a weekend stay. And like I said, it was pretty busy because of the wedding situation going on. They had like 2 different weddings happening at the same time out on the beach, and then they literally got those people in for the reception, and they're wiping the chairs down and bringing it out the next group. So they were trucking through some people, but otherwise the rooms were nice, the hallways were nice. You could tell they remodeled everything. Like I said, the elevators were kind of shit. Parking was decent. I could see during the summer when things are crazy, parking would be a bit of a nightmare possibly there. They had plenty of spots, but there's like 3 hotels right next to each other that are all stacked in that same area. So I feel like that would get a little crazy. So other than that, check-in was fine. It was really quick. If you have a big truck or lifted truck, the check-in area that you have to drive kind of underneath the overhang of the hotel could get a little tight. If you have a pretty crazy lift kit or anything like that, or if you have an SUV and then you have a bunch of luggage on top of your vehicle, be careful because I think the clearance was only like 7 foot something. So just be aware that if you have luggage on top of your vehicle, that could run into the side of the hotel. I didn't go out to the pool area. It looked pretty decent. We'll kind of get into some of the restaurant and things like that. But yeah, other than that, I think it was fine. Nothing else really came to mind. So I want to talk about the food places we went. So for breakfast on the one morning, we went to Uncle Bill's Pancake House, which is actually in Stone Harbor, which is a little bit, it's like a mile down the road. I think it's 1.1 miles from Icona. I thought it was decent, but it was super expensive. So 2 breakfast meals, like I think we actually got 2 omelets, both had potatoes, toast, and then we got a side of like 2 chocolate chip pancakes, and it was like $52, which to me is insanity. I eat tons of breakfast. I love breakfast with a passion, but I thought that was really expensive and kind of obviously you're paying for beach prices. I get it. It's the area. It's a super touristy area. Totally understand. The service was good. It wasn't that packed when we got there. It started getting pretty full. We went about 9 a.m. and it started getting more and more full as we were sitting there. But the service was quick. It wasn't really any issues. I just thought it was expensive. Food was fine. Food was pretty decent. I wouldn't say it was the best breakfast I ever had. Certainly wasn't for the price. But it was fine. It's kind of one of those places where you go because that's like the hot place to go. So For dinner, the first night we ate at the Avalon Brew Pub. So the Avalon Brew Pub is actually right next to the Icona Windrift. It's between kind of the two Icona resorts, hotels, whatever you want to call it. So you literally can walk right over there from the hotel, which was nice. Google said, so when I looked it up on Google, I went to reserve a table because I didn't know how busy it was going to be, so I was going to reserve a table just to be safe. I went on Google. I went to do through the Google reservations, and they said they had no time slots available. I went to their website and we did the reservation through the website, and they had all the time slots available. So when we went at 4:45 p.m., there was literally like 2 other groups there. So it was super dead. We actually ate outside. So it wasn't busy at all. Realized that in this time frame, you may not have to get reservations. I just wanted to play it safe. Google said no times. The actual website said there was. So indoor, outdoor seating. The food was really good. We got like a giant Bavarian pretzel to share as an appetizer, and then we both got the fish tacos. They were both excellent. The pretzel was amazing. The cheese dip was amazing. The mustard. I didn't have any of the mustard. And then the fish tacos, we get fish tacos almost everywhere we go if they're available. They were really good. I think it was mahi-mahi as well. It was simple. The aioli that they had in it was really good. It was a very simple meal, but it was pretty excellent. The fries were delicious too. I had like one of their homebrew lager beers. It was very, very good as well. The whole experience was good. There was no issues with the wait staff. They did say they were short-handed, but because it wasn't super packed, we didn't really notice any of that. So it was a good experience, and it looks like it was gorgeous inside. They had like keg things hanging from the ceiling. The urinal in the men's bathroom was actually a cutout keg, which was pretty interesting. I'd never seen that before. So just an interesting place. Looks like it's a good time pretty much probably all the time. And then the second dinner we actually ate at the Windrift, and it was kind of at the pizza bar restaurant area. And when we got there, it was super crazy because all the wedding people were just getting ready to go to the reception. So they were down at the bar, and then they all went up and it got like super quiet. So the pizza was average. I got the buffalo chicken pizza. I'll give it a 6, maybe 5 or 6. My wife got the margarita pizza, and same, maybe 5 or 6. We certainly had a lot better brick oven style pizzas. It's not that it was awful, just didn't have a lot of flavor. The ingredients were pretty basic, so I would say it was average at best. And they had all kinds of drinks and a full bar there as well. So the overall experience was maybe a 6 for me for that specific restaurant. They have I think it's Restaurant 105, which is a little bit closer to the lobby. That seems to be more upscale, where you can get lots of, more entrees and just fancier dining at that place. And even though they mentioned about getting reservations on the website, there weren't that many people in there as well. So just realize the time period, you're probably going to be able to go to most of these places without a reservation. So I did not eat at the other place though. And then for snacks, what we did was we went to Springer's Homemade Ice Cream, which if you look on Google in Stone Harbor, Avalon area, it's a pretty popular place. If you look at like the summer pictures, the line for the ice cream is like down the street. When we got there, we walked right in and we were able to order within like under 5 minutes. So there were not that many. I got the chocolate marshmallow. It was really good. I can't remember what my wife got. It was something like vanilla butterscotch or something like that. But mine was excellent. And once again, check the Google photos, because it looks like during the summer it gets crazy busy. So they had lots of servers, and you could tell that they're super prepped for really busy times, because I think they had like 7 or 8 people taking people's orders all at the same time, even though there wasn't that many people. So it looks like they're pretty efficient there. So that's what we did. We did ride our e-bikes around a little bit. One of my batteries wasn't, or the bike was, I had a malfunction on one of the bikes. So I was actually just doing it without a battery. So we did a little bit of biking around, but not much. It's mostly flat there, so it wasn't a big deal for me at all. And then besides that, we kind of lounged. We went to the beach on the one day, pretty much all day. We got there around 10 after our Uncle Bill's breakfast. And when we got there, cool thing about Icona is you walk over to these 2 guys that are out by the beach, and then you just tell them what kind of chairs you want. We got 2 lounge chairs with an umbrella. They set everything up for you. So that all comes with the Icona room, which was great. You just have to obviously tell them your room number and show them your wristband. So that whole experience was great. I wish I would have brought cash, because I would have tipped the guy. I didn't have any cash on me, so I felt bad there. And so that was great. It was still super hot. And as the day went on, by the time we left at like 3:30ish, I think, to go up to get ready for dinner, the beach was packed. It was actually really packed. There was a ton of people that actually showed up that day. I think a lot of that could have been day trippers because it was so nice, and then obviously a lot of wedding people around us. But it looked like it was pretty busy all the way down the lane, or actually down the beach. So another cool thing about Icona is that you can get the umbrella and chair service. So they set them up for you, and you don't have to lug them or do anything. You just get up and go away. You can kind of let them know you're leaving, and they'll just pack stuff up for you as well. So yeah, Avalon, cool things in the off season, cheaper rates, less crowds, super quiet. You can kind of just walk around and see the houses, and nobody's really asking you a bunch of questions. It's a really cool town to visit, and it's way cheaper in the off season. And yeah, way less crowds at restaurants. You don't need reservations. Parking's way easier. It's not as frantic as a normal beach town is. So those are the things we did. If you have any questions about Avalon specifically, where we stayed, about the Icona, about the place we visited, what we saw, certainly leave them in the comments below. But I enjoyed it. I would definitely visit again. It was absolutely gorgeous town, both Stone Harbor and Avalon, and all the small boutiques and everything is all brick. It's just, yeah, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a really beautiful beach town. It might be one of the nicest little quaint towns I visited in a beach perspective in quite a long time. I really enjoyed it. So once again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I answer all of my comments or questions, and I will catch you on the next video. So thanks.